All right, now, because we're moving into autumn and winter for a lot of our listeners in the Northern Hemisphere, I wanted to share some of my routine recommendations. So, one of the things that gets talked about a lot in Korea and with Korean skincare is the change of seasons and the impact that that has on our skin. And that wasn't something that I was sort of aware of coming from a country like Australia, where it's pretty much the same weather the whole year round. You don't really have this seasonal change or big variations from one season to another. We really get two seasons in Australia in most places. Certainly where I grew up, it's basically summer and then a period that we call winter that a lot of people would probably be equivalent to their autumn or spring. It doesn't get super cold, but the temperature does drop a little bit. But the change of seasons in many places causes really big variations in the daily temperature, and that honestly wreaks havoc on our skin. And so that's why it is talked about so much in Korea as like a known problem and a known issue. And one of the most important things that you can do for your skin during that time is to focus on your hydration, because the skin really does need just that little bit extra. So that is the number one thing that I focus on in my routine anyway, having dry skin. But I feel like this is the time, if you're the kind of person that has a lighter skincare routine, it might be the time of year to think about adding in just a few extra steps, a few extra layers, or even just going up a little bit thicker in texture. So some of my absolute favorite products for this time of the year, obviously, are Dewy Glaze Toner. I just mentioned that is a staple for me, but I love layering this and doing the 7 skins method in my routine at this time of year. Serums as well. This is the time of the year when I love to layer my serums. So in addition to our Jellicoe ones, which obviously for selfish reasons, I made sure that we formulated products that were great for dry skin types. But there are so many intensively hydrating Korean beauty products on the market as well. Another one of my personal favorites is Zeroid's Intensive Hydrating Ampoule. That is a great product. Unfortunately, it is small, so it's the kind of product that you're like, didn't I just buy this? And then it's already running out. But I think that that's quite common. A lot of serums are only 30 mils, and that personally annoyed me so much that I made sure that our serums were 50 mils, just because I hate feeling like I just started one and it's already finished. But that product is incredible, and it works for a lot of different skin types as well, particularly for sensitive skin. Another product that I absolutely love that is very different texture-wise is Equilib's Eau Bria serum. Look, I'm terrible with French pronunciation, but I will have the spelling for that in the show notes. It's a Korean product, and I actually met them at K-Beauty Expo a few years ago. Really, really love their products, and they were being stocked at Sephora in Korea. But if you're a regular listener to the show, you might remember that Sephora pulled out of Korea. So they are available online in Korea. I don't know. I've seen that they've done a couple of pop-ups. I'm not sure how accessible they are, but this brand, honestly, is amazing for this time of year. They also have a face oil that I absolutely love. It's called the Noir Face Oil, and it comes in like a black package, which I guess is why they called it that. But that is a beautiful, beautiful product. Face oils are another thing that I would definitely recommend adding into your skincare routine if you need that extra just layer, particularly for dry skin. Our skin lacks oil, so we really need to replenish it, but even more so at this time of year. So even if you're not normally an oil person, I think going into the cooler months is time to have a think about it. Now, finding the right one and something that you love and that you like the smell of and that you like the feel and the finish of is honestly a bit of a personal battle, I know. I have tried so many oils that I just do not rate and do not like. Ipsen Tree came out with one, this rose hip watery oil, a few years ago that I was obsessed with, and then they promptly discontinued it. So I am the kind of person that has to really search around to find an oil I love, and then once I find it, I enjoy using it. So hopefully you guys can find something that works for you. Everyone's skin is different though. So when it comes to oils, I really do think it is quite a personal choice as to what you like and what works for you. But an oil, if you can, add it into your skincare routine. It's a great choice. Now, again, a thicker kind of moisturizer is ideal for this year, this time of the year as well. Our bubble tea steam cream, I think, really comes into its own in the cooler months. A lot of people with combination skin tell me that they kind of save theirs, particularly for winter, because that's when they can really, really enjoy using it. If you've got dry skin, mature skin, bubble tea steam cream is a winner all year round, but this time of the year for other skin types as well. Another one that I personally love is Zeroid's Intensive Cream MD. And I've mentioned before on the show that the MD line stands for medical device, and that's why you will often see these kind of products stocked in dermatologists' offices, estheticians, clinical settings essentially. And Zeroid is one of the favorite lines, I think, of most Korean dermatologists. It is really, really a brilliant line. I see a lot of people say, oh, if you have dry skin, use products like Ilium's Atto Concentrate, the Atto Concentrate cream. And if you have truly dry skin like I do, particularly at this time of year, it's just nowhere near enough. Whereas I feel like Zeroid Intensive Cream MD comes a little bit closer to what I would actually need in a moisturizer. It's not the thickest product on the market, but I think if you're layering it with other products, then it can really come into its own. Other things that you can add at this time of year, if you are experiencing things like rosacea, flare-ups and all of them, is things like non-Korean products. Obviously, Avène's Cicatrate is a very popular product for this time of year for a lot of people as well. Our sleeping mask, always I reach for that more at this time of year as well. So lots of different ways that you can add layers into your routine without weighing the skin down. I think the thing with Korean beauty that Korean beauty does really well is the lighter layers that when you add them together, it adds up to something more than the sum of its parts, if that makes sense. So rather than one thick moisturizer to rule them all, it's lots of little layers that you're adding on, kind of like a sandwich, I guess. You're sort of building it and then everything just sets in nicely and you feel just cocooned, nourished, hydrated, and it really does go that extra distance to protecting your skin as well. Obviously, it goes without saying, sunscreen at any time of year, even though the UV does tend to be lower, I wouldn't skip out on it if I were you, particularly if you are going to be spending any time outside. The snow and skiing is a really common place for people to get sunburnt. I remember going skiing with a friend years ago, and in Australia it gets quite hot when you go skiing, and she'd stripped down basically to her t-shirt because it was that hot on the slopes, and she got one of the worst sunburns of her life, because people think, oh, it's cold, you don't need it, but you definitely do still need sunscreen, and you can get more burnt because the rays of the sun will actually reflect back off the snow, kind of like concrete. You know how like concrete, it feels like when you're walking over it, it's just even worse. I feel like the snow is the same, so don't be fooled if it is snowing. I mean, obviously, if it's totally cloudy, the UV is not going to be as high as on a sunny day in the snow, but the principle is the same. It's always a good idea to make sure you've got your sunscreen sorted in the cooler months of the year as well. All right, guys, I am going to finish it up here today, but I wanted to share particularly the news about the crackdown on microneedling with you, because that one I was very interested to see that. And it's always good to know that the MFDS does take these kind of things seriously. I think the missing piece a lot of the time is to get the news out into a language that a lot of people will, appreciate it, because that's the thing. When the ministry makes all of these pieces of information available, it's only in Korean, so someone kind of needs to translate it and put it out there. Now, of course, I don't have anywhere near as big a platform as the original brands that were making all of these claims, so it's never going to reach the same amount of ears, but I still think it's better than not sharing the news at all. So I hope that was interesting. If you have enjoyed the show, I would love it if you could give us a rating and a review. I'm also going to put the video for this up on YouTube. So if you would like to watch the show and listen to it, or maybe just watch it, whatever you would like to do, I'll put a link to that as well. So that's all from me today. I will be back in your ears next time. And until then, I will see you on Style Story and Jellicoe.